Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Boho with the info, and I promised to come to you guys at night, doing my live feed now on the show that is long overdue. Many of you asked me to do more stuff on space, mysteries, and UFOs and other things, and I've been away from the show for a while. There's a lot of material that I read. It takes time to go through a lot of stuff, and I do a lot of reading and a lot of research. So tonight, our show is what it is, and we're going to be talking about all these different subjects, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, if you get mad at it or you don't. We can agree to disagree, but it is what it's going to be, okay? Also, too, I make no claims on anything medically or otherwise. Always do your own research. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, but we will provide links from all the information that we're going to be putting into this show throughout the show. So I'll be switching back and forth in different screens so that I give you proof of what I'm going to be talking about and where I'm getting my information from. And if you guys see my Twitter page, I have posted previous shows earlier today. And to give you a rundown and update, that Florida basically is now a protected state with the citizens of Florida from Silicon Valley and big media, and have the freedom of speech to talk about whatever subjects freely without any kind of recourse from Silicon Valley. And if they do, then we as the people can go ahead and sue them for whatever and claim monetary damages and so on. So anyway, you guys, if you missed that show, go back and see that one. That one is put in my Twitter page, including the footnote to the governor from Florida. So check that one out when you get a time. But tonight we're going to be talking about space mysteries and UFOs. So, and if you have any questions, make sure you put it in the chat room. I will periodically go into chat and check any of the questions that you might have on anything, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. If I don't have an answer, I will research it. At a later date, I will hopefully give you that answer if I do not have anything. And if you have any tips as well, with proof, with the actual link, you can also put that in chat if you want to. Talks amongst yourselves and so on and so forth. So tonight we're going to be talking about space mysteries, UFOs, and all that. And everybody seemed interested in it. Many of you guys know about the U.S. having Space Force. Well, over my research, I've found out that every country in the globe right now has a secret space program. It makes no difference how large the country is or how small it is, but every country in the world has some kind of secret space program going on. It's not so secretive anymore because word's getting out on a lot of it. There's a lot of, in fact, the United States has a declassification program underway that they're supposed to, through the three-letter agency, release that information, and a lot more stuff is going to be put out under declassification with more answers to our questions. Okay. Now, in the past, I've talked about deep state, and I've talked about the black budget and other things, and I told you in the past from previous shows and a long time ago that deep state is part of the black budget. Black budget is part of the deep state, but it's also funding experimental programs, projects, and space situations. Okay, so this one here, which I will be giving you the link for these two articles when I get done with them, is done by a journalist called Dark Journalist. Some of you guys have seen him on YouTube. He has his own channel. He does reference a lot of stuff similar to what I reference, maybe not the same thing, but he talks about the secret space program in a conference, talking about what has happened in the past, what's going to happen in the future, and what's already being underway right now. There's an actual website you can go to, secretspaceprogram.org. If you go to that, that will actually give you some insight on it, even though this is an older conference from 2015 out of Austin in the United States. There was also stuff in October 31st and November 1st that also had the conference in Bastrop, Texas as well. So we've been talking about it, and there is probably a 3% of the population that really is coming to find out that there's some kind of weirdness going on with our space program. And people are spotting UFOs in the sky and they're thinking it's UFOs. Here's the thing. A lot of the big researchers out there have found out in correlations that a lot of the UFOs have correlation to a lot of the space programs, the secret space programs, not only for the US, but Russia and other countries. So their spaceship sizes and dimensions and their lights and how big they are or how small they are and how they move have the same structure and similarities to the actual space program, and they're finding out that it's correlating with each other pretty close and pretty well. Okay. Also, too, this is the website called secretspaceprogram.org. Hopefully it will pop up. In the meantime, I'm going to go into the actual research of where I found this so that no one can say otherwise I didn't post it. So you'll see a little strip on the bottom of your page. This gives you the actual websites from the two things so far that I'm talking about. And this space program organization is not only linked to the space program, but it's also linked to SETI. It also is a proven link to the Vatican, which is going to be a little bit later into our show, and it's going to be very interesting. And I suspected this way back in the early 70s and 80s. I didn't have the evidence until now. So a lot of research has gone in, a lot of reading on this to find and dig this information out, and little by little it comes out. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But in this here, it talks about the 2015 the conference that they had, and basically connecting the dots to everything. You guys can go into it and see what's happening with any of this. But they also had one in 2011, 2014, and 2016. Almost every year they're having something going on somewhere in the world, especially in the US, talking about this. Now, England and Great Britain and all that area, they're doing more UFO research, but also especially with the crop circles, because they're finding out the crop circles are correlating with the UFOs, all that kind of thing, right? Let me think, what else can I talk about here on this? But I'm just going to give you those things on the sites. You guys can do your own research. But this is also connected to, I don't know how many of you guys out there know Linda Moulton Howe. She does a lot of research with this UFO stuff. Also Joseph P. Farrell, also Jim Mars, Kathleen Austin Fitz. All these people are correlating to all the research that I'm going to be talking about, and these websites that they probably already know is in existence, and correlating all this information together kind of thing and putting it into a big bundle package for you. Okay? So, yeah. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is how the U.S. has actually incorporated a lot of technology that the public is not aware of, and it is actually being patented. So if anybody knows how to get into the patent office, there's a lot of information out there in the patent office of where, and I'm going to be putting the link up. I hope I got it up. Yep. Okay. Where they're getting patents for UFO technology kind of thing, using reverse technology modes and utilizing it. A lot of you guys know about Tulsa and other things. But in this one here, which was kind of interesting, this was from the War Zone, which is a military magazine type thing. It says, documents show that the Navy got UFO patents granted by warning of similar Chinese technological advances. So the U.S. and Chinese are always been at it for advancing military and advancing technology and stuff like that. And it's a race. It's basically not a race war, but a military race and a technology race. They've been doing it since the very first computer come out, and even before that. It even stems all the way back to Germany and then some. I mean, it's just so plush, and it's gone so far back in history that people just don't realize how far back in history it goes until they actually start going down that rabbit hole and figuring out where it's stemming from. So the patent documents indicate that the U.S. and Chinese are actively developing radical new crafts that seem eerie similar to UFOs, and it's been reported by Navy pilots. So many of you guys have seen probably on the news like ABC, NBC, CBS, whatever, where they uncovered the actual pilots from the Navy or Air Force spotting these UFOs, and they documented where it went to different three-letter agencies, Pentagon and so forth, to show the proof of the evidence. And when you have an eyewitness report like that, it's also registered with MUFON and other places. But I wanted to show you this because this is actually coming from the Patent Office. This is Naval Air Force Warfare Center called NAWC. It's an aircraft division which actually shows you blueprints of different types of UFOs that have been actually built as aircraft for secret space programs, not only in the U.S., but with China and other places in the country, in other countries. So, and it gives you not only how and the structure looks like, okay, and how it's built, but even on the actual mechanism that makes them fly, okay? And these are all registered patents at the Patent Office in the United States right now. So anybody can look these up, okay? But it says here, United States Secretary of Navy listed these different radical aviation technology patents by aerospace engineer working on Naval Air Warfare Center Aircraft Division headquarters in Maryland. These patents were described as hybrid aerospace underwater crafts claimed to be capable of truly extraordinary feat of speed and maneuverability in the air, water, and outer space. Alike thanks to revolutionary electromagnetic pulsation systems. Now, remember a long time ago, we were talking about EMP, we were talking about solar flares, and we're talking about earthquakes and how everything is changing the earth by electromagnetism. Well, this is how the same kind of example is done with these aircrafts of how they are propulsing their own systems on these aircrafts in order for them to move through the air or through space or underneath the ocean or so on and so forth. Now, UFOs are up in the sky, but they also have underwater UFOs. And they do not call them UFOs. They just, they call them another thing. But it says here that the patent examiner of the United States Patent Office and Trademark, USPTO, thought so too. And then the chief technical officer of the Naval Aviation Enterprise personnel wrote a letter addressing the examiner claiming the U.S. needs to patent as the Chinese have already invested significantly in the aerospace technology that sounds eerily similar to UFOs reported by our Navy pilots. So remember the little newscast where you saw the Navy or the Air Force reporting a UFO, and then all of a sudden one of the reporters on your TV showed the actual aircraft floating through space? That was probably the Chinese secret space program of their actual Chinese aircraft. So in other words, if you see a UFO in the sky, it may not be a real UFO. It may be an actual spy craft of a UFO that looks like a UFO, but really isn't. It's from another country, and it's part of their secret space program from whatever country, whether it's Chinese or some other country that might be flying overhead, and you think it's a UFO, but it's not. It's a spying craft of that secret space program. So the more and more I research this, the more and more I find out that it's getting to be true. Now, some of you guys seen a foot that I've given a link down into Chile where the guy actually goes in space, that is way out far in space, that actually spots it at night, and he puts a laser on him and you can see him fly by and stuff like that. I cannot verify if those are 100% UFOs, because here's the thing. Every country in the world has a secret space program. Pretty much the big ones in a way, the big countries. And they are flying these crafts not only on Earth where people might be eyewitnessing them on Earth, but they're also flying them in space. They have the capability of traveling far and vast in space at the speed of light. And as well as time shifting kind of thing, where it could be, time travel. They have the capability. And many of you guys are going to say, oh, no one has that capability. Yes, we've had that technology on Earth for quite a while for time travel. It's just not even on the surface of our military. It's in the secretive of the space programs that they are actually using and utilizing and doing. Okay. Now, I've given you the link to that, but also I wanted to say the Navy also patented a hybrid underwater aerospace craft. So not only have they patents for the spacecrafts that are UFOs up in the sky that you might be eyewitnessing, but also the ones that are diving into the ocean. There's different channels here on YouTube that talk about UFOs, but they haven't had the proof in front of their face like I'm showing you, to show you the linkage of the capabilities, that they have the actual patents in the office, and they have the technology and the reverse engineering in the space programs. Okay. So you have my footnotes on that, and I'm a lot more involved with that than what meets the eye, but here's a good example. This one is a hybrid aerospace underwater craft. Okay. And this one has a high speed maneuverability. Basically, it can spin on axle, has high frequency. It runs on vibration, also on high frequency vibration of electrical charging system. So a while back, we were even talking about frequencies. People were worried with the 5G kind of thing coming out and the correlation with COVID and all this stuff. Well, this is similar to that. This has that same high frequency. So, and we were also talking about how the high frequency can also disrupt the Earth's moving capability, since it's electromagnetism on the Earth. The same kind of situation when a UFO comes by and you hear people say, oh, the light went off, or the motor shut down, or things stopped and they were moving. This is all done by the frequency of electromagnetic frequencies. And it's kind of disruption, kind of similar to an EMP, okay? I don't know how to correlate it and put it in layman's terms, only to say something maybe possibly like that. So, and then here's the thing. I know from the Marfugo family, with Marfugo, they're talking about stuff like this. He has a sponsor through EMP Shield, okay, which is kind of like putting on a protection, like a Faraday cage on your motor that protects you from this electromagnetic frequency pulse that happens, so that your car doesn't shut down or get fried from the electronics, or some, motorcycle or a truck or a motorhome or an RV, okay? It's kind of like the same way as they're going to have to do the same thing with UFOs, because the UFOs have that kind of frequency. So many military know that there is, I believe it's Martin that Locken that does a lot of building on aerospace planes and different crafts and things like that. And I know the EMP shield is out there for protection on different crafts, even aircrafts, even. Because here's the thing, a UFO can actually make disruptions in the pattern of a frequency. No matter if it's done through 5G, no matter if it's done through a military, no matter if it's done through, a cell phone tower or your pulse of your car because it's electronic, or a GPS or a satellite or anything, it can disrupt everything. And you need something to basically protect it, kind of like a Faraday cage, for those who know what that is. If you don't, then research it. And so an EMP shield can also stop and help possibly with that. I haven't heard if the company that does EMP shield has done the actual experiment with the UFOs yet to see if it will continue to run the motors on an auto vehicle or not. But I'm throwing that out to you guys out there at EMP Shield to maybe research that, to check that out. But as I continue on talking about the subject here, anyway, the use of these crafts basically were hybrid aerospace undersea crafts. And in 2019, the American Institute of Aeronautics and Aeronautic Science Tech Forum in San Diego basically in the paper gave them a representation about what was going on with the technology and these crafts and things. So I've given you guys the link that you're probably seeing running around on the bottom of your page there. But yeah, and these are real live patents. They are registered in the U.S. Patent Office if anyone wants to look them up. Let's see what else here. And then, the T-Man, he did the Space Force. He, put it together because here's the thing, if something does come from another part of the solar system, we got to know how to deal with it, right? If it isn't, and let's say it's a spy secret space program from another country, then we also need to know how to deal with that too. So it just depends, so yeah. Now what they're saying here is that just because something is patent doesn't mean it's currently in production or even possible, but it says the U.S. government both regulate patents and look forward to technologies that ensure their own rights to them in which they were fully realized. The patents for these hybrid crafts is set to expire September 28, 2036. So maybe by that time of September 28, 2036, at that point in time, maybe they will do a declass at that time period on all this information from the patent office. I don't know. It's something that you guys have to look forward to in the future, I guess. So yeah, and then let's see, what else can I tell you about this? Let's go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. All right. The other one we want to talk about is in the archives. People that talk about the UFOs and stuff like that. And a good way to find out information of maybe how long people knew about it or our past history on it, because I know there's a lot of people that find it out in pictures in the museums, through cave drawings, etc., and so on. But if you go to the Wayback Machine on the internet, there was an actual technology called the TR-3B. That was the actual triangle shape type UFO that is still being spotted today in the skies. Now, this was what they call the secret government technology. Not only does the U.S. have the pyramid shape, but the Chinese have it, and there's other countries that have it as well. It may not be the same craft. They might have alternate designs, but it's the shape. And currently to this day, and as of yesterday, I know for a fact that they are spotting these triangles in the skies over our Earth somewhere in the world. So yeah. And it goes all the way back to Joseph Foch in 1763 and 1820, taken back from the prime minister under Napoleon, that knew about this situation about UFOs. Okay. And it says here it's true that the French revolutionist Joe Foch, the prime minister under Napoleon, he was a head of the French secret national police force that was direct ancestor of mine. Joseph Foch started and controlled the world's first professional organization of intelligence agencies throughout Europe. So it started there, and it says then the three-letter agency that starts with a C, and then the Russian KGB and U.S. English MI5, and so on and so forth, were intelligence agencies used to expand the method in gathering, networking information, political survival, and intelligence of crypto-related programs. So the crypto programs was part of the secret space programs as well. Because of the secrecy of oaths, not able to share any detailed of this work. So also too, just in this little paragraph here, we know by this as admitting political survival, which is the current situation that we're going through with the transitioning of presidents in the U.S. So this is a confirmation that the three-letter agencies are involved with this situation as well. And they have been since the beginning of time, even back in that time period. Just to make a side footnote on that. Anyway, let's see. It says, before I gave presentation of International UFO Conference in Nevada in August, brought 200 documents as offered as proof of my credibility. These documents contain information of positions, assignments held in the U.S. Air Force and the DoD contractors. They also had clearances held with classified, non-classified DoD military and technical training, receiving over 4,000 hours, performing a review in 1968 to 95, and a civilian from 87 to 95, and performed engineering program management, site management, and director of engineer of DoD contractors. So he was overlooking all this stuff, overlooking it all. Let's see. He was also, documents were also viewed by Ken of the International UFO Congress, Jim Courant, the UFO investigator, Tim Crumshaw, and John Purdy of the Union Pictures of London, England. And some of these documents were shown as the Riddle of the Skies, which was special in which to be learned to the channels next month. With the training experience of the intelligent equipment, special electronics, black programs, see, black programs, black budget, there you go. There's your correlation confirmation. And the cryptological areas, I received other government opportunities, filled this position with Major Command Liaison, Headquarters Manager, DoD Factor of Representation of the TAC, CA, or SAC, ATC, and PACAF following the Vietnam War. And then managed defense contractor and dealt with classified black programs developing state-of-the-art electronics, avionics, and automatic test equipment. So yeah. Now it does have here, let's see, F-16 fighter, as you see in the picture over to the left, and it provides long range stuff going on, but also this is also example of the technology that can be reversed. Same thing with these pictures that you're seeing off to the left here. We've got B-1 and F-11s. These are also correlating to design of reverse technology. So whether it's our country or another country, they're reversing this technology to be used into many of the aircraft that you're seeing nowadays, if you're in any kind of military service situation. And this doesn't stop with just aircraft, people. This is also going and correlating with any boats, ships, submarines, etc., even weapons, okay? So it doesn't stop there, okay? So here's an example of one of the pyramid-shaped type crafts, B-2. It's a stealth bomber and also an F-17. I've actually seen one of these close up, and it is really overwhelming to look at the first time. So, yeah. But some of you guys also know about weird stuff happening over there at Groom Lake. There is a air base over there. Some of you guys know about that. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But they keep on moving secret space programs. They're never in one place. So over time, they keep correlating and moving them around. Also here, some people have seen maybe gliders, or they call them drones. This is recent stuff within the past, I believe, 5 years. They also have different types of planes, spy planes, that they can use. And it's not just us, but with the Russians or the Chinese or whoever, okay? They've got everything too, just not the same design, okay? So if someone saw that in the sky, they're saying, oh, wow, is that a UFO? No, that's not a UFO. Okay, that is confirmation of a secret space program. Which country? You don't know until you actually really get a close-up. And that's why it's so important, if you guys are going to be looking in the skies or looking underneath the ocean, that you really need to have a close-up picture on what it looks like in order to find out which country it's coming from. So, yeah. Let's see, what else can I tell you about stuff here? Anyway, so yeah, even NASA is involved with stuff as well. Some of you know about the X rockets and all that. There's a lot of testing going on. There you go. There's a good picture of a pyramid shaped one right there. And the more you go into this, also too, if anybody gets like Google Earth, you can go to different countries and look at different airstrips and watch it over a year, see if there's any changes. Usually there is, if there's activity going on, and then also sometimes that's where some of their secret space programs might be at. So you just never know, you know. So keep an eye on the satellite pictures too. And then what else can I tell you? Okay, here's another one right here. This is an interesting one here. This is a Slider 79. It's a TR3B. I know there's been reports recently through MUFON about 3 lights underneath a pyramid or triangle-shaped type object in the sky. I don't know if, let me see if I can get my pointer. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's a light, that's a light, and that's a light. So if you're seeing 3 lights, that's definitely a black space program vehicle. Okay, TR3B. Let's see what else. Then there's another one here. This one also is a TR3B on the side view, what it looks like. So you might say, hey, these are all windows. It looks like windows, you know, on the side. Because I know there was a YouTube channel where someone came on, they took a live picture of this in the sky, and they're saying, oh, they look like windows, like they could be windows and they're all lit up. Now, that's just the side view of a TR3B. So that is a confirmation from the other channel that this is from a secret space program. There you go. There's another one right there. It gives you a close-up what it looks like on the side and then on top. So again, triangular shape, TR3B on the top and sides. And then here's another one giving you a close-up that way. And then here is, this is what it is. It's like a nuclear-powered type of vehicle. And it gives you a top view, bottom view, and the side view. I believe on the other YouTube channel, can't think of the name off the top of my head, but they had the side view on a live feed on that. And they're saying that all this stuff was windows, or it was being lit up, and that's not windows. It's just part of the vehicle. Okay. And that is a confirmation that's a TR3B. So, yeah. All right, let me see what else I can give you. And they've been flying this around quite often. So, yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. All right. So the next one I want to go to talk about a little bit on this is the rockets, dealing with the reverse technology kind of thing. And all right, what I want to show you is dealing with when we visit the moon and what we're currently doing visiting Mars. Okay. And a lot of people, you can find certain YouTube channels where they get a really close up on the moon. You can see all the little craters and things, and every now and then you might see something just whizzing by, which might be one of those UFOs or the secret space program, more like. Okay. Now, I'm not knocking there isn't the possibility of a UFO, but I'm more likely saying that it's some government secret space program that's whizzing by. You know what I'm saying? So if you can find the channel on YouTube, be aware of that, but also too, be aware of the sun, because the sun now lately has been getting swarmed of objects flying through it or near it on the sun, which is also peculiar because it's dealing with a frequency coming off the sun, which is electromagnetism coming from the sun. Now, being that some of these vehicles of UFOs are powered by radioactiveness, okay, let's put it that way, and some by actual electromagnetism, okay, for hovering, it's highly possible that it might be going to the sun to recharge, since it's a distance from coming back to Earth, that it's going to the sun first, like recharging its battery like a solar thing, right? And then making the range to go back to Earth. Now, if this is an alien technology, it's possible that they're also, the aliens themselves are doing the same thing to go through interstellar flight to recharge their batteries to continue their journey through the interstellar of space. Right? So anyway, I will give you the next set of what I'm giving you guys here, my footnotes here. Give me a minute. Here's the next footnotes, or the links. I'm sorry, the links. Is it in there? Yep. All right. So here's the next couple of links I gave you guys. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did that one. Okay, doing this one. Okay. So going back to the weird invisibleness and the all the other interesting stuff that deals with interstellar movement, the electromagnetism, and also look at the solar minimum and maximum, because the sun kind of goes through like what I call a human biorhythm, okay? But the sun does it in a different format. And to understand it, it's kind of like going through an 11-year cycle. Every 11 years it goes to a high, to a low kind of thing, right? So that will also throw out the high or low level of electromagnetism from the sun, right? So if we're at a solar maximum right now, that means the highest point of electromagnetic pulsing frequency, whether it's done through a solar flare or otherwise from the sun itself, will be at its highest peak, which is what's happening right now. So when you see earthquakes erupting or fluxing, and then you see volcanoes erupting, and then we have fire problems, and we have weird weather, it's because of the sun. And also, you got to understand, when we're at the maximum, it also does a pull on all the different planets within our solar system. The electromagnetism is kind of explained the same way with Earth. When it rotates around the Earth, does it rotate faster because we're at the maximum? Probably, yeah. Okay, but when we go at a solar minimum, then what happens? It probably slows down. Well, the same thing with the planets in our solar system. The sun may be drawing the planets closer, which is making them spin faster, but it's also creating havoc in space, which is the possibility of it possibly creating numerous wormholes, but also a black hole. Okay. The possibilities are out there. Okay. Now, when it comes to reverse technology of the UFO vehicles, okay, and utilizing them into our secret space programs, the reason why we may be getting visitors from other solar systems into our system is because maybe the sun actually pulled their dimension closer, which means their magnetism is being pulled in the direction of us. You know what I'm saying? More so at the highest peak, which is where we're at the solar maximum, than it would be at a less peak at a minimum, right? These are all my little things that I've been working on, I guess. But anyway, it says, except for the disturbing 70-year gap from 1645 to 1715, where there was no sunspots at all. So that was the only time period, okay, where they didn't have any sunspots. And if you know now, if you ever looked at the sun, did research with the sun and some of the stuff that's happening, every now and then you'll see anomalies of sunspots, right? Okay. But there was also another spotless period of 90 years. So we expand from 70 years to 90 years. From from the year 1460 to 1555. So here's the thing. When you see, so in that time period is when they had the most sunspots. Then it decreased, okay, at the year 1645 to 1715. So we had less sunspots. That was a 70-year gap, which is a 20-year difference, okay? So if we did it again in the 17th or 18th century, you probably would have it around a 50-year gap. And if you did it from the 19th century to the year what it is now, we only have a 20-year gap. If you notice with technology and with the actual, not only life on Earth, but also the life in the solar system, especially when it deals with the sun, you'll see that there's been this recorded through tree rings. So if you cut a tree in half, you see all these rings. This is done by what's going on with the gestation periods on plants caused by the sun. So it's kind of recording the solar minimum and maximum through the actual cores or in the middle of the trees with the actual tree rings, right? Well, you're going to say, well, how is this all correlating with our vehicles? Well, the sun has a lot to do with how these vehicles are flying through our solar system and out of our solar system into other areas of space, into other people's or other things' solar systems. And why we're seeing more of them frequently coming through the sun. The sun is kind of like being the solar panel charging up these vehicles. And we've had reports and we've had it on film where we're seeing UFOs coming out of the sun, like they're using it as an actual time dimensional shift gateway hole kind of thing, coming out of it and going into it. Why? Because then they're using it kind of like a warp speed, kind of like energizing their vehicle so that they can travel faster and easier and to get there sooner, right? These are all correlating to reverse technology stuff, guys. So also too, they're researching a lot of the different lunar bases that happened on Mars or on the moon, and then on Mars too. So here is like meteors, right? Let's go into meteors a minute. right now there's different secret space programs trying to set up colonies on meteors. Why? Because meteors goes through the orbiting naturally through space and through our solar system, which means you can travel through space without utilizing any kind of fossil fuel or other kind of fuel to do so, for one. Number two, some of the materials that are on meteors are actually mineable, meaning they could use it for mining not only for Earth, but for other civilizations or other um, places in the space area of another solar system that could be using on a trade deal. Um, so a lot is going on, and a lot of you guys, like right here, is from uh, the area of where they call the theory of where they're showing North Pole and coverts and the different areas of the rock on certain things, and then the asteroid belt, how that works. So that link I've given you guys, I believe, is in there on your bottom of your page running around. There's a lot of vital information about a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about that's correlating with the reverse technology of UFOs and why we have the Space Force program, not only for the states but for other countries, because they're going to explore space as our visitors did with us when they visit Earth. So now they've come to us, but now we're trying to go to them, right? So little by little, yeah. Now, I don't know if any of you guys seen, even on archaeology stuff, okay? Past history sometimes tells the future, right? So here's a perfect example from Egypt. This is Emperor Jonggu's knife blade, and it's actually the blade is made out of material from a meteorite. Same thing with King Tut's dagger was also made out of a meteorite material. So we know for a fact that meteorites have been coming down to Earth since the beginning of time of Earth. Okay, and we're mining it from Earth and utilizing it into materials like this. But what are we doing when we're going out into space and then we need to mine it out in space? This is another reason why we might need the Space Force and other vehicles so that we can travel with a heavier payload at a faster rate that doesn't eat up and chew away at a lot of the fossil fuels that would normally need to be used in order for it to carry the load, and especially landing on Earth and taking off from Earth because it would use a lot of fuel doing that. So this is another reason why we have to have reverse technology on a lot of this stuff. Okay. Let's see, what else can I show you guys here? You know, a lot of these meteors and stuff, right? And what they look like. You got the link to where I'm telling you guys. All right, let's see what else can I give you guys. That's a whole nother thing about meters there by itself. But here's the other one on Mars now, Hale Crater. And this is an actual research item that actually they believe there was civilization evidence there on Mars. This was way back in 2005. It's been updated in 2008 a couple times. This is an actual photo from Mars from the Hale crater. And what they're pointing at way down here in the bottom, which I'll try to move that page up, is the evidence that they found of a past civilization. Let's see here. All right. So they're using a high stereo resonance camera, of course, and they're showing you that type picture. And then also, here's another one here. It's very similar to the same way Egypt is with the sand. Mars terrain is similar to like Egyptian terrain. Over time, from not only space storms can uncover and cover things up, but the same thing in Egypt, where the surface stuff from sand can cover up a lot of the older architectural stuff there in Egypt. And if you want to know the longitude, latitude, and Mars location, longitude is 324 degrees east by latitude 36 degrees south. And then it's within the Halley crater, within the Argea Pangaea crater basin, which is longitude 303 degrees east by latitude 43 degrees south. Okay. Again, I have given you the link on that, I believe. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think so. And then they also did like an X-ray thing where you see these little squares and stuff and things that are happening over here and over here, which shows an also possibility of the actual lost civilization type situation. There's another close-up on that as well. There's about 6 images total here. So, and I know from past, some people say, well, hey, I saw a pyramid or there's pictures of a pyramid, or there's pictures of a face. Okay, there's a close-up. This is at 250 degrees. Now, they've increased the vision as much as they could, it looks like here. So they got a 200% increase. They got a 250% increase. And this one looks very similar to a couple different civilizations. If you look at the civilization in India and their temples, the Chinese temples, the Inca temples, and Peru temples. Let me think, what else? Like 5 or 6 different civilizations have been here on Earth. They have similarity on the same thing over there on Mars. Now, you know, what they're doing is they're still uncovering stuff, guys. So, but anyway, giving you guys that, and let me see if I given you guys the link on that one. Let me check and see here. There might be another link on this one. Here's another link on that one as well. All right. And then this is some more linkage. All right, so the next thing I'm going to be talking about here is, give me a minute while I pop it up. Different types of ancient knowledge. Archaeological past history has a lot of information that may not be ready for you to digest right now, but it can uncover a lot of stuff in the future. It also has the situation about reverse technology in it, too. Here's an example. This was in March 27th. This was an actual spacecraft design 101. I don't know if you guys can see it over here. Okay, but they've done a lot of designing and with weird types of crafts, whether it's for air or under the ocean. And it's not just our country, but other countries. Now, here's the thing. Not only is our military and our air companies, like airplane companies, jumping on the bandwagon for creating these different projects and these different types of planes and things, or UFOs, if you want to call them. But now so has different cartoon companies. And why? Because they have usually someone connected, believe it or not, to Freemasons, which actually give a lot of information out, secretive knowledge kind of stuff about things like this. And it's not intentional, it's within their brotherhood or whatever, but for some reason it influences a lot of creators when it comes to movies, TV shows, cartoons, etc. And they kind of put in that code or that reference or that pre-programming or the actual design of this stuff into things. And this is kind of one of those proofs right there. And if you look at that pretty closely, think about that and the Black Knight. Now you're going to say, well, what's Black Knight? You guys got to research that. That's another secretive space program, and it's extremely secretive. There's a lot of pictures out there about it, but not too much that talks about it and in detail. There's some surface information, but nothing in detail. Okay, so yeah. But I wanted to show you that picture there. And then again, there's cartouches on the Egyptian walls. Some of them can correlate with UFO stuff or reverse technology or people that visited the Earth. Also, in the time of Enoch, there's also information on that as well. And a lot of Christians are going to say, well, these are fallen angels. Here's the thing. God created the heavens and God created the earth. So the heavens is space. Right? The heavens is space. So whatever is in space, whether it's another alien race, he created it. Whether they fly through some kind of vehicle that you don't recognize, that you're frightened by, he created it. Now, if God created these vehicles and the different civilizations that might be in a different part of the solar system, then it was meant for them to come visit us to exchange that information and that technology so that we can evolve, right? Because God wants us to evolve, right? This is my positive look on it. People will say, well, no, they're fallen angels, blah, blah, blah. But I don't look at it that way. I mean, there's nothing in evidence that I have come across to prove that to me right now. Okay. Now, I will give you, let's see, the next one here. This next article that is kind of interesting tonight kind of took me by surprise. Some of you guys, and we've been talking about social media today, but this one was kind of interesting. And I've got the link on your bottom of your page there. I will also put these in chat if I have to, but I believe this will be up, whether it's in my YouTube or in my Twitch page. So that's why you need to follow me too, okay? Especially in Twitch. But TikTok users have found the CIA remote viewing gateway experience made them go viral. So remember when we talk about time travel, portals, gateways, this all deals with UFOs. It deals with reverse technology. It deals with the whole correlation of everything, right? So it says here, a younger generation of truth seekers suddenly obsessed with a long declassified military report, the Gateway experience, has gone relatively obscure on the viral hit. The social media platform TikTok have seen viral hits from unlikely sources in the 1983 Army intelligence report called The Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Process. So back in 83, they were using reverse technology for a gateway. Okay, there's your proof right there. The details of the technology to reach a higher consciousness by syncing the hemisphere of the brain, declassified nearly 20 years ago by the CIA report, suddenly gained interest of the TikTokers. With more than 1 million views and counting, many TikTokers were not only going to share news about the gateway process, but also the experience trying to use it. So it says here, often mistakenly reported as a CIA documents a decade ago, was actually written by an Army intelligence officer. The Gateway process was part of a gateway program run by Bob Monroe at the Monroe Institute, which many remote viewers went through as part of their training. What this was an object of the Gateway program that was now related to remote viewing. So think about that with remote viewing and what's going on now with what, AI, or doing AI with what you watch on TV, and then all of a sudden you see it on your computer as an ad, right? Correlate that together, okay? And then I know you guys want to see UFO stuff, but I want to go into some questions here. Let's go into some questions and break away here. Let's see. Yes, Nick. Okay, I'll say hi to In God We Trust, Nick, Banana Boonie. All right, so Nick is saying Deborah Tavers has been talking about a plan to stage a fake UFO invasion for years. This is true, and what that's going to be entitled is basically going to be the secret space programs throughout the earth of different countries. Yeah. All right, and then let me go to me, Benner. Okay. So, all right, we did the remote viewing. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about in correlation to the whole program is the different projects dealing with the mysteries, whether they're UFOs on land, underneath the ocean, in the Antarctic, so on and so forth. But there's a lot of videos of stuff going on out there. So I've given you a link to that. But also what is very interesting is a project, and I'll go over that one, which is Project SEPRO, okay? I don't know if any of you heard about this, but this one is an alien exchange program. It's where Pope Benedict the, I think 16th, meets the Eben for 2 hours. And we got them on a audio and a video recording about what was going on with that and how they met, what they were talking about. But it says here that Area 51 captured aliens escaped from the Eben religion that visit Earth, an energy-directed device where extraterrestrial aliens and Gate 3 incident, Groom Lake human alien exchange program, and Broad Majestic Eyes Only, Mexico Roswell, and all them, and Pope Benedict as well. It was Project SEPRO. So this was a huge project with many people involved. And I've given you guys the link to the video on that because I really don't want to play that one online because it's probably, let's see, how long is this puppy? Probably about another half an hour or so. So check this out because in a way, this is kind of like human trafficking, but in space. Okay, you guys are worried about human trafficking on the south border. Well, this is like human trafficking in space. Okay. Also, too, remember I told you the elite, and way back in old history shows, I told you about that the elite has contact with these UFO alien people things, whatever they are. Okay, and one of the proof is with the Pope. And I also told you in an older show that the Pope had alien skulls in the actual archive library or in the actual vault of the Vatican. Okay, and this comes from that kind of situation as well. Very, very interesting stuff. So I've given you the link to that, and I'm not going to go too much further because I am getting tired. It's been a full day for me for not only shows and programs, but research. So I'm going to be calling it a day. Please make sure that you share my link of this show. I will post it in Twitter. It's also posted in Twitch. And please follow me in Twitch and Twitter as well as YouTube, just in case something happens to YouTube. So the next time I see you, I don't know, but stay tuned to Twitter. My shows will be posted in there and the other two, okay? So thanks for joining me tonight, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. You guys have a great night. Thank you for coming.